Depending upon these three sources, respectively, energy, electron, and carbon, we can name any microorganism or any organism in general. So, for example, depending upon energy source and microorganism, if it is using light energy, then it is called phototroph. If it is using another energy, chemical energy of oxidation, either of an organic substance or an inorganic substance, then it is said to be chemotroph. So, depending upon energy source, it can be either phototroph or chemotroph. Similarly, depending upon electron source, an organism can be autotroph. Auto means if it is using directly carbon dioxide from the environment. So CO2 is the sole source in case of autotrophs. For example, all plants almost, and cyanobacteria, they are autotrophs because they are using CO2 as sole and principal biosynthetic carbon source. By using the CO2 as a carbon source, they can make sugars, for example, glucose, sucrose. So this is the carbon source, then it is called autotroph. And if the CO2 is not used and microorganism is using some other sources, for example, reduced, preformed organic molecules from other organisms, means from some autotrophs, they are dependent upon these autotrophs for this carbon. So they are called heterotrophs. Hetero mean other. So, okay, so depending upon carbon source also, they can be autotroph or heterotroph. Similarly, depending upon this, I told you this carbon source first and this, okay, so we will discuss this at last. So depending upon electron source, they can be lithotrophs or organotrophs, whether they are using inorganic molecules or organic molecules. So litho means rocks. If they are using inorganic rocks or some other elements, reduce inorganic molecules, then they are called lithotrophs. If they are using organic molecules, then they are called organotrophs. So they can transfer electrons and they can obtain their electrons and hydrogen from these organic molecules that are known as organotrophs. Now, we are having this in our last class, capital E, small ec. Now we will divide each into two groups. So this is, the trick is known as PC Loh, Loah. So two words for each. So for example, this is the energy source. So depending upon energy source, it can be phototroph or chemotroph. Depending upon electron source, it can be lithotroph or organotroph. Depending upon carbon source, it can be autotroph or heterotroph. So if you remember these two tricks, you can name any microorganism. If you know what are the carbon, energy, and electron source for that particular microorganism or a general organism. Fine. Now, from this continuation from this topic, we have discussed how these nutritional requirements are fulfilled in different type of microorganisms. In today's class, we will see how these microorganisms can be cultured in the laboratories depending upon their requirements. So this is called culture media. The various microorganisms have been grown in laboratories to fulfill the industrial demand of proteins, and there are various requirements. Okay, so we grow these microorganisms in lab, but general media cannot grow all type of microbial cells. Therefore, each specific microorganism or a species of microorganism require a different media. Okay, so today we will discuss different type of culture media, which are generally used in different laboratories to grow the microorganisms. तो आज हम उन सभी मीडिया को डिस्कस करेंगे जो अलग अलग माइक्रोऑर्गेनिजम्स को ग्रो करने के लिए लोग यूज करते हैं, ठीक है? तो पहली बात, देखो, कोई भी माइक्रोऑर्गेनिज्म है, कोई भी ऑर्गेनिज्म है, इट नीड टू फुलफिल दीज फोर रिक्वायरमेंट. दीज आर कॉल्ड मैक्रोमोलिक्यूल्स, except these lipids. Generally, lipids are not considered as macromolecules. Macro means large molecules. So otherwise, these proteins are made up of amino acids, and these amino acids are connected by peptide bonds. Therefore, a large molecular weight structure is formed that is called polypeptide or protein, generally having a molecular weight greater than 10 kilodalton or so. Similarly, carbohydrates, they are made up of simple sugars which are connected by glycosidic bonds. And nucleic acids also, they are having nucleotides as monomers, and these nucleotides are connected via phosphodiester bonds. So all these are polymers, but lipids cannot be said like polymers because lipids are generally having glycerol, and to this glycerol, fatty acids are connected, and generally one phosphate and some X group, for example, some ethanolic group. Okay, ethanolamine, for example. So lipids are not as big macromolecules as others are. So lipids cannot be considered as macromolecules, but all these four type of molecules are present inside the cell, and they are made up of these constituents or these elements. Proteins are special because they are having sulfur, and yes, phospholipids have phosphorus, but generally phosphate is a portion of nucleic acid, and phosphodiester bonds, obviously it is having phosphate. So also, it is having very important role in case of nucleic acid. It will give a negative charge to DNA and RNA, which will help DNA and RNA to wrap around the positively charged proteins called histones in eukaryotes and polyamines in and other HU, for example, histone-like protein in bacteria or other microorganisms. So, uh, so the major elements which are found are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and proteins have nitrogen and sulfur, whereas this phosphate is a portion of either lipids or majorly they are present in the DNA and RNA, nucleic acids. Okay, so now all these elements are required for microbial growth to make all these molecules within the cell. तो भाई माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स को इन सभी एलिमेंट्स की रिक्वायरमेंट होने वाली है। तो हमें जब भी माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स को ग्रो करना है सिंथेटिक मीडिया पे या कल्चर मीडिया में, लैब्स के अंदर, तो हमें ये सभी एलिमेंट उन्हें प्रोवाइड करवाने पड़ेंगे अलग अलग सॉल्ट्स को डिसॉल्व करके, सो दैट दे कैन ग्रो very efficiently. Okay, but because the requirement of each microorganism is different, therefore there is a bit difference in the culture media also. So depending upon these requirement and how these media are prepared, so they are named accordingly. So as we will discuss in the next slide. So first of all, what is culture media? So this portion I have taken from Pathfinder only, page number 439. So what is culture media? For any bacterium to be propagated for any purpose. This purpose can be industrial, or generally the lab students which are doing experiment over some strains of bacteria, they grow bacterial strains so that they can treat them with various antibiotics or some drugs to discover some new novel molecule, drug molecules, for example. So it can have any purpose, either industrial purpose or some experimental purpose. Okay, so I told you the experimental purpose, for example, for the discovery of some drugs or some novel compounds which can kill the microorganism or can inhibit their growth. So there are two type of molecules. One is static and one is CIDL. Static means those antibiotics which are efficiently inhibiting the growth of microorganism. They are called static. Bacteriostatic. Bactericidal means they can kill the microorganism. Okay. Second purpose is industrial purpose. Suppose some industrial important protein, for example, insulin. This can be grown in the, so we can make a recombinant DNA molecule. This recombinant DNA molecule can be cloned in within a plasmid or some vector. Then the means this vector can be this is called transformation. So transformed into some bacterial cell, and then when this plasmid will divide, because this will have the gene of interest, and ultimately it will continue to produce our protein of interest, because this particular gene is responsible for the production of specific protein. Okay, so it may have different purposes. So to fulfill these requirements, to achieve these purposes, we need to propagate, or we need to grow the microorganisms into the laboratories. So it is necessary to provide the appropriate biochemical and biophysical environment. two things are important. One, biochemical means we need to provide all the elements which are required to make, which are required by the microorganism to make various molecules, for example, lipids, nucleic acids, proteins, and carbohydrates, for example. These are the basic requirements. But beside this, we also need to provide some environment in which this particular microorganism can grow. For example, generally, we shake the culture around 200 rpm per minute, and we have to give a specific temperature for a specific microorganism to grow. Okay, so these two type of requirements should be fulfilled, then only we can efficiently grow a specific microorganism. A culture media is a solid or liquid media. Now, generally people have this doubt that culture media is always solid or always a liquid. This is not so. Depending upon culture media also, this can be divided into three types. One is not elaborated here. So one can be semi-solid, some gel-like thing. Okay, so liquid, semi-solid, and solid. There are three type of media which can be prepared. So depending upon the composition of media, so we can add some component, for example, agar, which will help in the solidification or solidification of this culture media. Okay, so the concentration which we are adding or the composition which we are adding into the culture media will decide whether it will be liquid, semi-solid, or solid media. So all three type of media are frequently used to grow the microorganisms. It is used to grow, transport, and store microorganisms. Now, beside the purposes, it is also having different applications of this culture media. Why we require culture media? So generally, first of all, to grow the microorganism. This is very simple. We all know. Generally, when we need to transport the microorganisms or some strain from one place to some other place, we need to add this particular bacteria in a fresh culture so that it can survive in the way, and then we will again add the fresh culture. To store the microorganism, generally we store the microorganism at minus 20 or 4 degrees Celsius, so that to store them for long periods of time, generally we store them minus 80, even at minus 80 also. But always we need to fix the cells, and we need this culture media in which these microorganisms will remain and they can survive. Okay, depending upon the special needs of particular bacteria as well as particular investigator, a large variety and types of culture media have been developed with the different purposes and uses. Culture media are employed in isolation and maintenance of pure culture of bacteria, and are very also used for the identification of bacteria according to the biochemical and physiological properties. So not only this, these some applications we had discussed, but generally the culture media can be used to identify the specific type of bacterial strain. I will tell you at the last of the class. Okay, so let me tell you how it can be used to identify a specific microorganism. So let me show. For example, here are, this is the last slide of today's discussion actually. So there are various forms in which microorganisms grow. And this is called punchyform, circular, filamentous, irregular, rhizoid, spindle. So there are different forms. Then depending upon the elevation of colony, whether it is flat, raised, convex. This is, what is this? So depending upon elevation, this is pulvinate actually. So this is not very much visible, but it is, sorry, pulvinate. Okay. And this is called umbonate. So depending upon different elevation of colonies. Now I will tell you what are colonies. So for example, here is one plate. So each dot you are able to see, these are colonies. So generally a colony is made up of 10 to power 6 to 10 to power 8 cells. Okay, so the size, the small colony which is visible, it may have up to 10 to power 6 cells. Okay, and the large colonies will even have higher number of cells. So this is a general question. Anyone can ask you in any Viva if you are appearing somewhere, or can be asked for general knowledge. So because this much bacteria should be required so that they can make a colony, and these colonies are visible with unaided eye. We need not require anything to see the colony. Then how this colony will arise? So okay, so this colony will arise from a single cell. So each colony you are able to see over this plate, they they have arisen from single bacterial cells. So the bacterial cell will continue to divide by binary fission, and they will, when the number reaches around 10 to the power 6 or so, then they will make a big bunch of, or a big mass. This is called colony. Now the morphology of this particular colony, first of all, the form, elevation, and margins. So they will help in the identification of different microorganisms. So each specific microorganism will have a specific combination of these forms, elevation, and margins. So we need to scan all these, and then we can identify generally the microbiologist identify different microorganisms depending upon these. So margin can be entire, undulated, lobate if they are having lobe-like structures. Erose, they are not frequent lobes, but it is okay. Filamentous and curled. So here is one example is given. So this particular bacteria is called Bacillus subtilis. If you are able to see this type of colonies in your plate, then you are very confirm that this is Bacillus subtilis. So this Bacillus subtilis is making this very beautiful design. This is not a design. In fact, this is a colony. So this type of colonies can be seen when you culture the Bacillus subtilis. It is also written here. Okay, Bacillus subtilis growing on nutrient poor agar media, and these are making these beautiful snowflake-like colonies. Okay. So I only wanted to tell you these combinations or this type of forms, elevation, and margins will help microbiologists to identify different species of bacteria. Okay, so they can identify them. So therefore, they need to grow the microorganisms over a plate, or you can say solid media. Okay. Sorry. Oh my goodness, why this is not working? Wait a minute, something wrong with this. Each time it is showing this only. So where is the piece? Okay. So, okay, this we will discuss that depending upon the special needs of particular bacteria as well as the particular investigator, very large. Okay, so culture media can be classified on the basis of physical nature. It can be liquid, semi-solid, or solid. I told you this. Depending upon chemical composition, it can be synthetic and complex. I will tell you the differences. Functional type, it can be supportive, it can be enriched, it can be selective, it can be differential. So today, this is the theme of today's class. In today's class, we will discuss some basic media types, and we will classify them depending upon these different types. So first of all, depending upon the physical nature of the media, it can be liquid, semi-solid, or solid. This is very easy to classify depending upon the appearance. So now the second thing is chemical composition. A media can be synthetic or complex. Synthetic means a media which is synthesized by us. Means if we know all the chemical constituents of that particular media, this is synthetic. A complex media is having some unknown components, the composition of which we generally do not know. So the complex media is something, a type of culture media whose composition is not known completely. Okay. Then depending upon functional type, it can help bacterial cells to grow, that is supportive. It is enriched. Enriched means it is having some specific amino acid or some component, some sugar in extra amount, so that it will allow the specific type of microorganisms to grow very efficiently. Okay. Selective. Selective means if a culture media is having something, some chemical component, which is allowing only one specific type of bacteria to grow, but do not allow the second type of bacteria to grow. For example, McConkey agar. McConkey is selective as well as differential. Okay, it is having both the properties. Selective, why it is selective? So let me change the slide so that I can tell you. I will discuss all these slides, so don't worry. I'm telling from this slide because this is necessary for understanding. Okay, so I was telling that, for example, McConkey agar. So McConkey agar has been asked in one examination. So generally, this is very important also because this is having both the features, selective as well as differential. Other media also may have the same features, for example, selective and differential. But what is so special for this McConkey agar or Mac agar that it is asked frequently? So because this McConkey agar can be used to differentiate or to allow the only one type of microorganism. So generally we have two common type of microorganism. One is bacteria can be gram positive and gram negative. This McConkey agar is selective because it will selective component. Okay, so first of all, so it will allow only gram negative bacteria to grow. Actually, I have written here, but this is okay. So for the uh, growth of gram, this is gram negative only because this is having this LPS layer, lipopolysaccharide layer, or the outer membrane. So it is allowing only gram negative bacteria. It will not allow gram positive bacteria to growth because it is having some selective component. So now the question is, what is the selective component of McConkey agar? If you are able to understand first question, then I will switch to the second question. Okay, so first question is, what is the nature of McConkey agar? So McConkey agar is selective as well as differential. Which type of microorganism can be grown in McConkey agar? Only gram negative. It will allow the growth of gram negative only. It will not allow the gram positive. So this question can be asked in several ways. Okay, so you only need to remember it will allow only gram negative bacteria. So now the third question which can be generated from this text is why this McConkey agar is allowing only gram negative bacteria, why it is inhibiting the growth of gram positive bacteria? Because it is having a selective component, that is bile salt and crystal violet. It is having two things. One is bile salt and one is crystal violet. Generally, bile salts inhibit the growth of gram positive bacteria. Okay. So this is the third question. Now, fourth question is why it is differential. It is differential too because it is having lactose and neutral red in this. So the composition of McConkey agar, so it will also have lactose as well as neutral red. This neutral red is a pH indicator which will become red in color, which will showing red color if bacteria is releasing some acidic product. Okay, so bacteria will utilize this lactose which is present in the media, and with the help of this neutral red, which is a pH indicator, if the bacteria is secreting some excreting some end products which are acidic in nature, so the colonies or the media will become red in color because of presence of this pH indicator, which is neutral red here. Okay, other media which are also differential need not necessarily have neutral red. For example, mannitol salt agar is also differential, but it is having pH indicator phenol red here. Okay, this is having neutral red, this is having phenol red. So depending upon media, it can vary the components will vary, and thus it will help in the. Okay, so this is also important, mannitol salt agar. This is also selective as well as differential. Why it is selective? Because it will allow the growth of only Staphylococcus. Staphylococcus aureus, for example. So you know the microorganism Staphylococcus aureus, the microorganism which cause acne. So some people have this acne problem, so they should know that Staphylococcus aureus is the causative agent of these acne or face. Okay, now the Staphylococcus aureus can be selectively grown and differentiated in mannitol salt agar. So if someone want to grow this Staphylococcus aureus in lab and want to do some experiment, for example, he or she want to discover some medicine for acne. So this, he need to grow the microorganism first. So we generally use mannitol salt agar to grow Staphylococcus species. Because this mannitol salt agar is having salt NaCl 7.5%, it will select for the growth of Staphylococcus only. Other microorganism cannot grow in this particular media that is called mannitol salt agar. Pathogenic staphylococci can be differentiated based upon the release of acidic product because it is also having a pH indicator phenol red in the medium, and therefore this phenol red will turn yellow, not red. Okay. So phenol red will be turned yellow in the presence of acidic products, whereas neutral red will be turned red in the presence of these acidic products. So someone is having a question. Let me answer this. So so at what pH neutral red and phenol red change color? There is no specific pH. Okay. There is no one specific pH. pH can be anywhere in the range of this pH region. Okay, so this acidic pH. Generally, this is less than 6, you can say. Okay, so if the bacteria is releasing some acidic products, so they will turn the color either red if they are having neutral red, and yellow if they are having this null red. Okay. There is no difference. So if you want to ask in the, obviously there is difference in because both are having different component. One is having neutral red and one there is phenol red. And second thing is the color is also different. One is showing the red color, one is showing the yellow color. But if you're asking me the pH question, so pH can be anywhere in the acidic range. So it will show the respective colors. So, okay, so the next, okay, we will come again over this particular slide. This slide I did not want to discuss here, but because this was the requirement so that you can able to understand. Okay, so I'm moving back to page number 4. So we have discussed this depending upon, so what is the basis of classification of different media? First thing is physical nature. It can be liquid, semi-solid or solid. Depending upon chemical composition, it can be defined, means if we know each component in what proportions, so this is synthetic. If we do not know the chemical composition, then it is called complex. Okay. Now what is the function? Function, depending upon function of media, can be supportive. Supportive, generally all media are supportive because they are helping bacteria to grow. Okay, this is a general purpose. But you can give some specific purpose to that particular media if you add some specific components. For example, enriched. Enriched is chocolate agar. Chocolate agar is, okay, so let me show you chocolate agar. Second is selective differential. We have discussed these, selective and differential. I hope you are able to understand what are the what can be the components for the selection of microorganisms. So they will allow only specific microorganisms to grow. Differential means you are able to differentiate because there is a color change. So if the colony is there, it will show some different color. Now this enriched, for example, chocolate agar. So let us discuss chocolate agar first. So this is the chocolate agar. Okay, so chocolate agar is a kind of enriched media because it is having horse sheep red blood cells. Okay, either horse or sheep red blood cells are added to this particular media. So therefore, this is called enriched media, generally used to grow the specific microorganism, for example, called Neisseria gonorrhea. Okay, so let us discuss something about Neisseria gonorrhea. So this is a gram-negative bacteria. Diplococcus means it is having. Okay, so we will actually we have discussed all these things, but I hope you are not able to understand. So some new students also in this class. Let me draw for you. So Diplococcus means if the two means no. So something like this. If the two cocci are dividing and they are not separating from each other, then this is Diplococcus. So this is having something like this. The structure is, and what is the so why we are so interested in this, because this Diplococcus and Neisseria gonorrhea is a causative agent of eye infection in some neonates. So in it will cause eye infection. This eye infection is called gonococcal ophthalmia neonatorum. Okay, so because this infection is generally take place in neonates, small babies. Okay, so chocolate agar can have this sheep or horse RBCs, red blood cells, and therefore it is called enriched media. Okay, so generally this type of media, which is called chocolate agar or enriched media, can be used to grow the fastidious microorganisms. What are fastidious microorganisms? One example, Neisseria gonorrhea. And what is the general definition? So first of all, let me tell you. So fastidious microorganisms are those which are having some complex nutritional requirements. Because they are having some complex nutritional requirement, they will require some special nutrients which should be present in their media of growth. For example, we are adding here red blood cells. Okay, so the fastidious microorganisms are having complex nutritional requirements, and therefore they need special nutrients to grow. Okay, are you able to understand this, or I should repeat it again? If someone is thinking like this is we are adding chocolate in this media, this is not like this. This is called chocolate agar because this is having the brown color. Because we are adding RBCs, therefore it is when the RBCs are heated, they will show brown color. Okay, this is not like we will add chocolate in this particular media, so this will called chocolate agar. Means we are feeding chocolate to the bacteria. No, someone asked this question, please remember the color is brown due to addition of red blood cells. Okay, therefore this is written here. It is called chocolate agar because it is chocolate brown color, and this color is actually due to these RBCs. When brown color is result of heating red blood cells, and they will lyse before adding them to the medium. Therefore, they will give this brown color to this particular media. Okay. Very interesting, but you should know these journal questions. Okay, so next is this. So we have discussed page number 4. Then we will move to 5. So again, for Trishla, okay, so Trishla is having one question. Which component of bacteria, which component these bacteria use from the RBC? As I told you, because these bacteria are called fastidious because they are having complex nutritional requirement. We do not know what they are going to use from these, but because RBCs are having proteins and all these things, so they can use anything because they are having complex nutritional requirements. And the complex is a word which is we will also use in case of culture media also. We generally do not know the composition exactly, therefore we use the word complex. Okay. Fine. So I hope you are familiar with these terms which we are going to discuss in this text, and they are given in your Pathfinder as well. So first is called minimal media. So there are two type of media. One is minimal, one is supplementary media. Okay, so let me tell you something before starting the minimal and supplementary media. There are two terms. One is called auxotroph, auxotrophs, and one is called prototrophs. Okay. If you are giving some other name them, you can call them mutants. We have seen various movies over mutants. So I hope you are able to understand what I mean. Mutants are means they are having some mutations. Okay, so if they are having some mutations, these mutations can be of various type, means single base pair substitution, for example, a point mutation, insertion or deletion mutation. So what can the devastating effect can be the devastating effect of these mutations. So if the microorganism is having these mutations in some specific protein, and this particular protein is responsible for synthesis of some amino acid, so it is helping in some amino acid biosynthesis pathway, for example, and that particular microorganism is having defect in this particular amino acid biosynthesis pathway, then these are called auxotrophs. Okay, or mutants. So there are two type of microorganism. One is auxotrophs, one is prototrophs. Prototrophs are called wild type. Wild type means there is no problem, everything is okay, everything is working. So they can synthesize all required amino acids, all required components, or some other sugars, for example. But generally, we will use the example of amino acids because you are very familiar with amino acids. You know there are 20 amino acids. So suppose if a single amino acid is not found within the microorganism, it cannot biosynthesize its proteins. तो अगर एक माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म जिसको ऑक्सोट्रॉप बोल सकते हैं, जो म्यूटेंट है, एक किसी अमीनो एसिड को बायोसिंथेसिस नहीं कर पा रहा है, तो वो अपनी प्रोटीन्स को भी बायोसिंथेसिस नहीं कर पाएगा बिकॉज प्रोटीन्स आर अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ ऑल द अमीनो एसिड्स. ओके, सो ऑक्सोट्रॉफ, सो ऑक्सोट्रॉफ्स में हम एक एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं, जैसे ल्यूसिन माइनस. सो दिस इज ऑक्सोट्रॉफ. Auxotroph means mutant because it will not able to synthesize leucine. It will have some defect or mutation in the leucine biosynthesis pathway. Okay. Now, okay, एक चीज तो ये हो गई कि आपको समझ में आ गया कि ऑक्सोट्रॉफ किसे बोलते हैं, प्रोटोट्रॉफ किसे बोलते हैं. ओके, म्यूटेंट्स जो जिनमें म्यूटेशंस होती हैं, जो किसी अमीनो एसिड को बायोसिंथेसिस नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, दे आर ऑक्सोट्रॉफ्स. तो ऑक्सोट्रॉफ्स को ग्रो करने के लिए इस अमीनो एसिड को कल्चर मीडिया में ऐड करना पड़ेगा, तभी वो माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म या ऑक्सोट्रॉफ या म्यूटेंट्स ग्रो होंगे. अगर आपने ये अमीनो एसिड उसमें मीडिया में ऐड नहीं करा, तो वो अपनी प्रोटीन्स की बायोसिंथेसिस नहीं कर पाएंगे. गॉट इट? जबकि प्रोटोट्रॉफ्स को ऐसी कोई न्यूट्रिशनल रिक्वायरमेंट्स नहीं होती because prototrophs are wild type microorganism. They can biosynthesize all amino acids by themselves, so they do not generally require this supplementary media. तो अब दो तरह का मीडिया, हम मीडिया को डिपेंडिंग अपॉन दीज टू माइक्रोऑर्गेनिजम्स वी कैन क्लासिफाई द मीडिया आल्सो. मीडिया जिस पे प्रोटोट्रॉफ ग्रो करेंगे उसको बोलेंगे मिनिमल मीडिया, क्योंकि ऐसा मीडिया जिसमें सभी कंपोनेंट्स रिक्वायर्ड कंपोनेंट्स मींस एलिमेंट्स हैं, और उन एलिमेंट्स को यूज करके वाइल्ड टाइप माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म और प्रोटोट्रॉफ अपने सभी कंपोनेंट्स की या प्रोटीन्स की या अमीनो एसिड्स की बायोसिंथेसिस कर सकते हैं। सप्लीमेंट्री मीडिया उसको बोलेंगे जिसपे ऑक्सोट्रॉफ्स को ग्रो कर सकते हैं, यानी कि मिनिमल मीडिया में अगर ल्यूसिन ऐड कर देंगे then this will become supplementary media because we are supplying leucine from outside, because we know this particular mutant is having this particular mutation which will not allow this mutant to biosynthesize leucine. Therefore we need to add leucine in the media. Then this particular media is called supplementary media. Okay, are you able to understand these terms and all the discussion we have? सुशला को समझ में आ गया? और बताओ भाई, और भी लोग हैं क्लास में? आंचल, लिखिता, कई दिनों के बाद आई बेटा, पता नहीं कहाँ गायब हो जाती हो। और प्रियांशी तो चलो है। ओके, देखो बहुत आसान है समझना। ऑक्सोट्रॉप्स जो होते हैं वो म्यूटेंट्स होते हैं, तो उनमें किसी अमीनो एसिड को बायोसिंथेसिस करने की एबिलिटी नहीं होती। देयरफॉर वी नीड टू ऐड दिस पार्टिकुलर अमीनो एसिड इफ वी वांट टू ग्रो द ऑक्सोट्रोपिक स्ट्रेन्स ऑफ माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स। ओके, जबकि मिनिमल मीडिया पे ग्रो हो जाते हैं तो उन्हें प्रोटोट्रॉप्स बोलते हैं, क्योंकि वो वाइल्ड टाइप माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स होते हैं और उनमें किसी भी कंपोनेंट में म्यूटेशन या किसी भी पाथवे में म्यूटेशन नहीं होते। देयरफॉर दे कैन बायोसिंथेसाइज ऑल अमीनो एसिड themselves. अब इसको पढ़ लेते हैं। मिनिमल मीडिया आर दोज दैट कंटेन द मिनिमम न्यूट्रिएंट्स व्हिच आर रिक्वायर्ड व्हिच आर पॉसिबल फॉर ग्रोथ ऑफ वाइल्ड टाइप माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स। मिनिमल मीडियम टाइपिकली कंटेन कार्बन सोर्स। कार्बन सोर्स कुछ भी दे सकते हैं, जैसे ग्लूकोज या कोई भी शुगर, वेरियस इनऑर्गेनिक सॉल्ट्स, सोडियम, पोटेशियम, ये सब दे दिया। ओके, एंड वाटर, वाटर इज रिक्वायर्ड। ओके, सो वी विल डिसॉल्व ऑल द कंपोनेंट्स इन वाटर एंड दिस इज कॉल्ड मिनिमल मीडिया। यानी कि हमें अलग से कोई ऐसा कंपोनेंट ऐड नहीं करना, वी जस्ट सप्लाइंग द कॉमन एलिमेंट्स व्हिच वी हैव डिस्कस्ड इन प्रीवियस स्लाइड, कार्बन, हाइड्रोजन, ऑक्सीजन, नाइट्रोजन, phosphate, so that microorganism can grow all the components, carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, or nucleic acids. So they are called prototrophs because they can grow over minimal media. Second thing is supplementary media. Supplementary media is a type of minimal media. ये भी minimal media का ही type है, केवल हम क्या चीज ऐड कर रहे हैं, एक एक्स्ट्रा चीज जो जिसके लिए उस particular microorganism में mutation है, so that this particular microorganism can also grow over this media. So this is called supplementary. This is a type of minimal media that also contain a single selected agent. अगर हम ल्यूसिन म्यूटेंट की बात कर रहे हैं तो हम ल्यूसिन ऐड करने वाले हैं, तो यूजुअली एन अमीनो एसिड, और अगर कोई पाथवे ऐसा है जिसमें शुगर की सिंथेसिस नहीं हो पा रही है, देन वी ऐड सम काइंड ऑफ शुगर और अदर कंपोनेंट। तो हमें पता होता है कि ऑक्सोट्रॉफ में कौन सा म्यूटेशन है, तो हम वही वाला कंपोनेंट ऐड करके उस पार्टिकुलर माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म को भी ग्रो कर लेते हैं। अच्छा, इससे फायदा क्या होने वाला है? अभी मान लो हम अलग अलग माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म को एक ही प्लेट पे ग्रो कर रहे हैं और हम मिनिमल मीडिया यूज कर रहे हैं, ठीक है? तो मिनिमल मीडिया पे बेटा केवल वाइल्ड टाइप माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म ग्रो होंगे, म्यूटेंट कभी भी ग्रो नहीं होंगे, क्योंकि ये उस पार्टिकुलर अमीनो एसिड की बायोसिंथेसिस नहीं कर पाएंगे या कंपोनेंट की बायोसिंथेसिस नहीं कर पाएंगे जो मिनिमल मीडिया में हमने सप्लाई नहीं किया है या ऐड नहीं किया है। सेकेंड इज सिंथेटिक एंड कॉम्प्लेक्स मीडिया। अगर हम कोई मीडिया लैब में बना रहे हैं और हमें उसके सभी कंपोनेंट्स पता हैं, यानी हमने खुद ही कैलकुलेशन करके सब कुछ सेट करा है, तो हमें पता है हमने कितना उसमें कार्बन, नाइट्रोजन, ऑक्सीजन, सब फॉस्फेट वगैरह डाला है, तो दिस सिंथेटिक मीडियम इज केमिकली डिफाइंड in which the exact chemical composition is known, whereas a complex media is something which is undefined. Undefined means कुछ ऐसा कंपोनेंट ऐड कर दिया, जैसे आरबीसी ऐड कर दिया या कुछ और ट्रिप्टिक सोए ब्रोथ में कुछ ऐसा कंपोनेंट ऐड कर दिया, कुछ मीट वगैरह ऐड कर दिया। तो जनरली वी डू नॉट नो ऑल द कंपोनेंट्स व्हिच आर प्रेजेंट, द composition is unknown, so this is called undefined media in which the exact chemical constituents of the medium is not known. कॉम्प्लेक्स मीडिया की बात करें तो अलग अलग हो सकते हैं, जैसे दिस न्यूट्रिएंट ब्रोथ Nutrient broth is something means we have made the broth, we have boiled by mixing several things, then this nutrient broth is formed. We do not know what is the chemical composition. Tryptic soy broth, also we do not know the some component, therefore मैकॉन्ग की अगार में भी कुछ कंपोनेंट्स ऐसे ऐड करेंगे जिनकी कंपोजिशन हमें नहीं पता होती, इसलिए ये सब कॉम्प्लेक्स मीडिया के एग्जांपल्स हैं. ओके, अच्छा अब कौन से कंपोनेंट्स हो सकते हैं जिनके कंपोजिशन हमें नहीं पता है, ये डिस्कस करने से पहले देखो दो क्वेरी हैं. लिखिता, ओके फाइन. So why we are discussing these nutrient broth, tryptic soy broth and McConkey agar in complex media, because they are having complex nature. We cannot define all the components which are present in these culture media. Now, what are these components? For example, in tryptic soy broth, let me annotate this so that you are able to understand. Telling tryptic soy broth. So generally we have added tryptone, TRYP, tryptone. So we need to add tryptone in tryptic soy broth. Tryptone is pancreatic digest of casein protein. So generally we do not know what are the exact composition of carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen in this particular tryptone. And also we also added peptone. So because we are adding tryptone and peptone, and therefore we are not very sure what is the exact chemical composition. So this will call undefined media, and this is an example of complex media. Similarly, in McConkey agar, we are adding bile salts, right? We generally do not know different components of bile salts, and also we are adding some other proteins, for example, pancreatic digest or peptic digest of animal tissue. Okay, so these two things we are adding in McConkey agar also, and we are not very sure about the exact chemical composition of these components which are present in bile salt and peptic digest of. Peptic digest means we have digested the animal tissue with the help of specific pancreatic enzymes. So because it will have some peptidases, it will break the proteins in animal tissue, but still we are not very sure about the exact chemical composition of these media, and therefore they are undefined and so-called complex media. Are you able to understand what is the difference between synthetic and a complex media? In synthetic media, we know the exact chemical composition. We need to do calculations by ourselves. So we know the exact chemical composition, which are the elements which are present in what proportion in the media. Whereas in complex media, we generally do not very sure about the exact chemical composition, because we are adding some components which of which we cannot calculate the exact chemical compositions. Therefore, this is called complex media. Third is enriched media. Now we will add something, so this will be enriched. There is a query again. Composition of complex media is not explained till now. No one is doing research to find. There is no need to do research over the complex media. थोड़ा बहुत कम ज्यादा अगर ऐड कर देंगे तो भी माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म की डेथ नहीं होगी, वो सरवाइव कर जाएगा उसको, ठीक है. सो टाइम वेस्ट ही होगा अगर कोई ऐसा करेगा, ठीक है. There is no requirement to know the exact composition, only because we do not know the exact chemical composition. So we are using different terms to understand the complex media better. Okay. Next is enriched media. So enriched medium contains some components that permit the growth of specific types or species of bacteria only. Usually because they alone can utilize the component from the environment. Okay, our कुछ microorganisms they can use the specific substances or specific type of components which are present in the media. So only specific bacteria will grow, others will not grow. So this is enriched media. However, an enriched media have selective features. For example, blood agar. So, or the chocolate agar we have seen. So these are examples of enriched media. But the blood agar is actually it is encouraging the growth of fastidious microorganisms. For example, chocolate agar is also enabling the growth of Neisseria gonorrhea. So these are the examples of enriched media. So because these type of microorganisms, as I told you, they will have complex chemical requirements. Therefore, we need to add some components, for example, RBCs or blood. RBCs, for example, are added into the chocolate agar, and blood can be added directly into the blood agar. So these fastidious microorganisms can grow. Selective media. Okay, so we have discussed these two types, selective and differential. We need to read whatever is written here, and I hope you are able to understand very quickly. A selective medium is prepared by the addition of specific substance to the culture medium that will permit the growth of one group of bacteria while inhibiting the growth of some other group of bacteria. So we have seen two examples already. One is McConkey agar. McConkey agar is easy to understand because it is having crystal violet and bile salts. They only allow the growth of gram-negative bacteria. They will not allow the growth of gram-positive bacteria because they are having the crystal violet. This crystal violet can pass the cell wall. So, okay. Whereas the crystal violet cannot cross the lipopolysaccharide layer of this gram-negative bacteria. So gram-negative bacteria can grow. Second thing is we have seen what was the name of second media? Mannitol salt agar. Mannitol salt agar is generally used to grow the Staphylococcus. For example, Staphylococcus aureus. It is written here. The mannitol help differentiate the pathogenic from non-pathogenic Staphylococcus. This is called mannitol salt agar. So generally this salt, which is generally used as 7.5% NaCl, it will allow the growth of Staphylococcus only. Whereas the mannitol will help differentiating the pathogen from the non-pathogenic strain. And because this is having this phenol red, so if some microorganism will consume this mannitol and excrete acidic products after consuming mannitol, this will turn to be yellow. The colony color will change. Therefore, this is differential too. Now, differential media. Differential media is described as differential medium if it allows the investigator to distinguish between the different type of bacteria based upon some observable traits. For example, some color change or so. Also, someone can recognize the bacteria depending upon their growth pattern over the media. As I showed you the different colonies, different shapes of colonies, either flat or elevated, margins and forms, they can be used to differentiate the media, differentiate the different type of microorganisms. So they will only be grown on differential media. Okay. So blood agar is an example of differential media. This is also an example, though we had discussed already two, McConkey agar and mannitol salt agar. They are selective as well as differential. But if you want to tell what is differential, so blood agar is a differential media because it will used to distinguish hemolytic and non-hemolytic bacteria. What is hemolytic? Hemolytic is okay. So blood agar is something which is having blood. So blood is having RBCs. Some bacteria which can secrete some protein, hemolysin. So these hemolysin protein will rupture the RBCs which are present in the blood. Okay, so the the microorganism which can lyse the RBCs are called hemolytic, which are not able to secrete the hemolysins and they are not able to rupture the RBCs. They are called non-hemolytic bacteria. So depending upon their features, whether they are rupturing RBCs or not rupturing RBCs, you can distinguish or differentiate hemolytic and non-hemolytic bacteria if you grow them over blood agar. Second is Eosin methylene blue agar, MacConkey agar, mannitol salt agar. There are also various examples of differential media. Last is pure culture. Pure culture is something, okay, so first of all, I showed you a plate, last slide. You can see some color change also. So, okay, so they have grown them over some selective and differential media. So they are able to differentiate different colonies, which are showing this red or yellow color. Okay. Second thing is, this pure culture. So you are having some culture in a test tube. Okay, you have spread over some plate. So what will happen after some time, after overnight incubation or so, the bacteria will grow and they will make colonies. Now you can see they are having different shapes. Okay, and there are different forms of colonies. So you are able to differentiate that in a single plate you are having different type of microorganisms, because each cell, that is called colony forming unit, CFU, will give rise to one colony. This question, okay, so can please you enemies of hemolytic bacterial growth? I wish I can. Actually, I have not added this particular diagram. It is present on page number 148 in Prescott. If you are having Prescott, please go to page number 148 and eighth edition. And this is showing the blood agar. Okay, wait a minute. Let me show you then. Generally, we have added this sheep blood. Okay. So here is one. So, okay, you are able to understand generally they are, if they are able to lyse the red blood cells, they are called lytic bacteria, means hemolytic. If they are not able to do so, they are called non-hemolytic bacteria. Okay. Are you able to see this screen? Actually, I have shared my Chrome page. So generally this blood agar is having 5% sheep blood. It is used to test the bacterial ability to lyse the red blood cells, that is called erythrocytes, and is called hemolysis if it is able to rupture them. And what are the proteins which are called hemolysins? So different species of bacteria secrete these hemolysins. Hemolysin can be of various type. So depending upon these hemolysins, differential species contain different classes of hemolysins. They can be categorized as alpha, beta, gamma. So depending upon the color also, you are able to see the color difference. So depending upon the color change, you are able to classify these microorganisms as alpha, beta, and gamma. Each hemolysin produces different hemolysis patterns. So for example, in case of beta, you will see this is very highlighted. In alpha, this is not so much, and in gamma, this is very blurred. Okay. Are you able to understand this, or I should show something else? Good. So you can search this out. Okay, so there are various they have shown, but actually I find this helpful because they are showing different patterns, and this pattern of hemolysin or hemolysis is actually depending upon the which class of hemolysin protein is secreted by that particular bacterial strain. Hemolysins are proteins, so they will rupture RBC, but the pattern will vary. So depending upon pattern, they can be alpha, beta, gamma. Okay, there are so many slides you can. Similarly, you can also find non-hemolytic bacteria. So in that case, you will see that they will not rupture the. So where we were, तो हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि अगर किसी माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म को एक प्लेट पे ग्रो करेंगे, इफ वी ग्रो सम माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म ओवर अ प्लेट, they will show different morphologies of these colonies so that we are able to identify this particular plate as having different type of microorganisms or different species or strains. Therefore, we pick a single colony. Okay, then we will again spread this colony over some new plate. If still it is showing this type of growth, we then again select one colony, and then we will do this, we will repeat this until and unless we are able to get all the similar colonies. Then this is called pure culture. Pure culture is something, means all the microorganisms which are present in this culture. Okay, so we can grow them, then we will pick one colony, or we can take a portion of colony, and we will grow the microorganism in a test tube. In the test tube, then this is called pure culture, because the culture, and we can also see the microorganism under the microscope. Okay, so it is called pure culture if it is having only one type of microorganisms, because pure cultures are generally grown from a single cell. Okay, so here. Pure culture is one that contain only single kind of microbial population grown from a single cell. So always remember, if we are using a single cell or single colony to grow culture, this is called pure culture, because all the microorganisms or all the cells which are present in the culture are of same type. Pure culture is usually derived from a mixed culture. इसको derive कैसे करते हैं? It is derived from the mixed culture. So we grow each time the colonies are grown over the plate and then in the test tube, containing many species by methods that separate the individual cells so that they multiply. Each will form an individually distinct colony, which may then be used to establish a new culture with the assurance that only one type of organism or microorganism will be present in the culture. And this is called pure culture. Pure culture may be more easily isolated if the growth medium of the original mixture culture favors the growth of one organism to the and exclude the others. So it can be easily formed, the pure culture can be easily formed if we are having some selective media or differential media, so that it will help us differentiate that particular strain which we need to grow, which is of our interest. There is a query. Okay, so there is no query. So I saying thank you. Okay, then we will move further. Bacterial growth. The next topic is bacterial growth. We know bacteria generally divide by binary fission. In some cases, only it will divide by budding. Okay, so mostly it will divide by binary fission. Now, you may have a question in your mind, what is bacterial growth? Bacterial growth is anything. Should bacteria always need to divide? Not always, because we know bacterial growth can be of two type. Either the cell mass will grow, or the size of the cell will grow, or if the number is growing. Generally, we consider second one as a bacterial growth, but this is also one feature of the cell growth or the bacterial growth, because bacterial cells should, before division, it should grow in size. It should accumulate some proteins or biosynthesize its protoplast so that the bacterial cell can divide efficiently. So you can think of what are the components which are required by the bacterial cell before division. For example, it need ribosomes to translate its proteins, and it need to replicate its chromosome so that each one copy can be distributed in both the daughter cells. It need to multiply its plasmids if they're present within the. This is called copy number, in how many copies the plasmids are present in the bacterial cell. So because all these things, all these components are increasing in number, therefore the bacterial size or cell mass both will increase, and this will be a feature of bacterial growth. So an orderly increase in the quantity of cellular constituents, this is called cell mass or cell number. Second one is easy to calculate because we know the timing, and if we know the timing, we can calculate how many divisions or multiplication cycles the cell must undergo. It depends upon the ability of cell to form new protoplasm from nutrients available in the environment. Environment, the nutrients which are available or present in the environment, the bacterial growth is always dependent upon the ability that how it is able to make to form the new protoplasm out of these nutrients which are already present in the environment. It should metabolize these nutrients which are present, which are available in the environment, so that it can grow in size, mass. The increase in the bacterial cell number occurs by cell division, that is binary fission mostly. Binary fission begins with the DNA of. Okay, so before binary fission, a cell must need to replicate its DNA. Each circular strand of DNA then attaches to the plasma membrane. The cell elongates, causing the two replicated DNA to separate. This is called cytokinesis. The plasma membrane invaginate, grows inwards, splitting the cell into two daughter cells which are equal in size. This is called cytokinesis. So first is karyokinesis, means generally not like what is happening in case of eukaryotes, but in prokaryotes, this is the replication of nucleoid region of the chromosome. The principle that underlying the chromosome segregation is bacteria and eukaryotes are very similar, but DNA segregation after replication and because bacteria do not have this mitotic spindle or a mitotic apparatus for segregating the chromosomes, it is very simple in case of bacteria. A few bacteria species reproduce by budding. Also, this is reported. They form a small bud that will enlarge until its size approaches that of the parent cell, and then it will segregate from the parent cell and will be growing independently. Only in few species this is reported. So we have discussed in our initial classes. Then okay, very easy to elaborate. So this is a bacterial cell, parent cell. It will divide. First of all, it will multiply its chromosome. Then it will undergo some cross-wall formation, and this will result into cytokinesis. And the two daughter cells of equal size will be result. So this binary fission is shown here. Then in our previous classes, we have discussed much about FTS-Z protein. This is a ring-like structure which is formed when this cell is undergoing cytokinesis, so that this cross-wall is formed. This is called septum. Okay, this FTS-Z protein plays an important role in the cell division. FTS-Z protein is a homolog of tubulin. We have discussed eukaryotic cytoskeleton and prokaryotic cytoskeleton in our previous classes. You can go and watch the previous recorded lectures. So this is a homologue of tubulin. This tubulin is required for microtubule formation in eukaryotes, but in bacteria, it is having a role in cytokinesis. So cellular components of FTSZ regulate the frequency of division. Now this is very important for division. If it is present in high concentration, then bacterial cell will divide frequently. It has been seen. So it will affect or regulate the frequency of division in bacteria. At time of onset of septal invagination, FTSZ protein is recruited from cytosol into the division site. So cell ke center mein, in the center of the cell, where it assemble into ring-like fashion and remain associated with the leading edge of this is called invaginating septum until the separation is completed. Jab tak ki cytokinesis, until and unless cytokinesis is complete. If you are not able to understand this, let me show you this. This we have discussed, but I am sharing this again because this, okay, there is two proteins. One is called MREB and one is called FTSZ. Main protein which is required for the septum formation is FTSZ, which is present in the form of ring. And it is responsible for the septum formation and cytokinesis. Okay, MREB protein is present all over the cell, but during the cell division, it will also make a ring-like structure in the center of the cell. So the two equal daughter cells will be resulted after cell division. One more protein is there, crescentin protein. Crescentin protein is having some role in the curving of this bacteria. So it is generally present in Vibrio or spirillum cells. Okay, in rods, these or then focus, this is generally absent. So this FTSZ protein, whatever we have discussed, it will make a ring-like structure, and this ring-like structure will help in the cytokinesis. Okay, so you can read this. This is very simple. Only one line which So when the bacterial cell will be inoculated into a flask which is having a fresh media, so we can see four phases: lag, log, stationary phase, and last is death phase. So they can be divided into the batch culture can be considered as a closed system. So because only one time we are adding the nutrients, we are adding the fresh medium. And once the colony or the cells are added to this medium, they are incubated. And then the bacterial growth can be divided into four phases: lag, log, stationary, and death phase. Much of the portion is given in your Pathfinder. I will discuss a few things from the Prescott as well, which are very important. Okay, so first of all, lag phase. So I hope most of you have studied bacterial growth curve, which is showing some sigmoid growth. If you are not familiar, I am showing you one. So this is a general growth curve. If you grow the bacteria in a fresh culture in a closed system, incubate them. Okay, so this is batch culture. Whereas in continuous culture, you will continue to add the nutrients. So the bacterial growth will be continuous. So there is no stationary phase. Whereas in a batch culture, because we are adding nutrients only once, so therefore they will show the stationary phase. And once the nutrients are consumed by the bacteria, there is no space for division. The bacterial cell growth will decline, and because the bacterial cells start dying. Okay. And in this phase, bacterial so this, what is this called? So in this particular phase of growth, this altruistic behavior has been seen in case of bacteria because some of the bacterial cell will lyse, they will release the nutrients, which can be used by other cell population, okay, which are not going to die. So in this death phase or the decline phase of growth, bacteria is also showing altruistic behavior, means they will sacrifice themselves for the benefit of large population. Some cell will sacrifice themselves for the others. This behavior is called altruistic behavior. So this has been seen in bacteria also. So first of all, we will discuss lag phase. Lag phase is because we are adding a culture or some microorganisms into a fresh culture. So generally there is no growth in this phase. You can see this is the lag phase. There is hardly any growth. You can see this is 5, this is 6 here. So uh, although this is log value, but there is very little growth in this phase. So this is called lag phase. Initially there is no growth, and then they will start showing some growth at least. In the log phase or exponential phase, they are showing very active growth. They are multiplying at a regular pace, and therefore this can be calculated. Stationary phase is a phase where the growth means the division, formation of new cells, and death of cells are equal, so therefore there is no growth at all. There is a flat curve. Then there is cells will start dying, and the nutrients which are released out of these ruptured cells will be utilized by other cells. So they will help other cells survive some time, and then ultimately they will undergoing programmed cell death. Okay, they are going to die. So first of all, lag phase. Lag phase, there is no increase in the cell number because it is a period of adaptation of the cells to a new environment. Suppose you are going somewhere and okay, so you have admitted somewhere, you have taken admission in some other state or some other university away from your home. So after moving to your hostel, first of all, for 1 or 2 days, you need to adapt to that particular place. You need to understand the people there. Okay. Same thing is happening in case of bacteria. When you add bacteria into a fresh culture, it first adapt itself to the new environment. Then only it will synthesize some components which will be required for active cell division. What are the components? For example, ribosomes. It will generate the ATP. It will make new proteins. So these protein will help in the replication and division, transcription, translation, all these processes. And other proteins, for example, FTS-JED, as we have discussed, MREB protein, MREB protein. So all these proteins are required when cell is going to divide. So in the lag phase only, bacteria synthesize all these components. Therefore, there is a growth in mass, not in cell number. But there is an increase in mass because the cell is active, metabolically active. Thus, in this phase, the bacterial cells are not dormant. They are metabolically active. They are not dormant. You need to understand this term. If someone says that bacterial cells are dormant, therefore they are not dividing, this is very wrong because bacterial cells are not dormant at all. They are preparing themselves for the division process. So therefore, they are showing an increase in the mass. They are metabolically active and they are not dividing. Therefore, there is no increase in the cell number. Length determined by the characteristic of the bacterial species and conditions of the media. Media conditions and environment, all these factors are going to decide the length of the lag phase. If everything is favorable and media is supportive, so the bacterial cell will start divide very early. Okay. Second thing is growth phase or then log phase. In this phase, cell number increases exponentially. Therefore, this is showing this geometrical progression. What is geometric progression? So you can put 2 to the power, for example, 2 to the power n. So you will add one cell, 2 to the power 0. This is 1. 2 to the power 1 is 2. 2 to the power 2 is 4. 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, and like so on. So bacterial cell will divide. Okay, so each time, this is called geometric progression because you can put 2 to the power n. This n is the number of generations. So if you know the number of generations, you can tell how many cells can be present in the culture after this much of time. So you can calculate this by T by n. So there is a formula. If you know this, if you know the value of T, T is the total time given to the growth or the culture. N is the number of generations. So you can tell how many generations, or this is called generation time. Okay, so the generation time or the doubling time is equal to T upon N. Or you can calculate the T value if you divide the generation time divided by N. Okay. There are two very important equations or formulae which you will use for some calculations in this topic, and these are important. But before discussing those, let me finish this. So stationary phase of growth, there is no seen growth, observable growth, because the number of cells multiplying equal to the number of cells which are dying. There are three factors which are responsible for this stationary growth. One is there is no nutrients. Nutrients are exhausted. There is no biological space. Space is also exhausted because there is large population of bacteria which are present in the culture. Accumulation of inhibitory products. So it will happen when the bacteria will consume the nutrients. They will excrete some waste, and this waste will be accumulated because this is a batch culture. So it will not allowing the bacteria to show any growth. So the growth phase will be called stationary because the number of cells which are dividing, multiplying is equal to the number of cells which are dying. And ultimately, there is a death phase or decline phase, which is also exponential, which is very opposite to this particular phase. So here, the number was increasing, here number will decrease in this same geometrical fashion, exponentially, which essentially will be a reverse of growing phase during this log phase, growth during this log phase. Now, to calculate all these things, you need two or three formulas. One is generation time. You can calculate using the total time in minutes. Generally, you will take in minutes because, but it can be given in hours also. So you need to know, convert it with. So the generation time is generally 20 minutes, but it can vary from one organism to another species of bacteria. So generation time can be calculated by if you divide T by N, number of generations, if the number of generations are given. Also, you can calculate the number of cells of bacteria which are present in the culture if you multiply the, okay, N0 is the some bacteria you have added to the bacterial culture. If you multiply them by 2 to the power n, this n is the number of generations. So if it is given, then you can calculate the number of bacteria which are present in a culture. One example is given in your book also. So what will be the problem is a bacterial culture containing 50 cells per ml in the exponential growth phase at 8 a.m. in the morning. If you consider generation time of 20 minutes, what will be the total number of cells after 3 hours at 11 a.m.? So 3 hours, you will convert first of all this 3 hours into the minutes. So 180 minutes divided by 20 minutes because this is the generation time. So you can calculate the n from the same formula because we know T upon n is the generation time. So if you want to calculate n, then you will divide this total time T divided by G, which is the generation time, that is 20 minutes. So you will find n value is 9. So there is 9 generations. Then you can put this 9 as 2 to the power 9 because you need to calculate this number. So you need to calculate the total number of cells. So n will be equal to these initial cells, which are 500 cells per ml. So 500 multiplied by 2 to the power 9 will give you the exact number of cells which are present in your culture at 11 a.m. Similarly, you can design any problem and you can answer those. Second equation, which is very important. So what do you need to do? You need to do logarithmic of this particular equation. So log n is equal to log n naught. and you can write this 2 to power n as n log 2. You know the value of log 2, then you can make this equation log n minus log n naught divided by log 2. Log 2 is generally 0.301, which is having this value. So you need to remember this equation as well. So n is equal to number of generations. If you do not know, if you are given the number of cells in the initially added to the culture media and number of cells after some time, if you take the log value of these and you divide by this, you can calculate the number of generations. So you can also simplify this particular equation as 3.3 log n upon n naught. Both are very important in calculations, so you need to remember both of these. So actually we are running out of time, so we will, in the next class, again we will discuss these two equations and some problems. Then only we will move to the next set of equation, which is used to measure the colony number. Okay, so that's all for today. If you have some query, please ask. If you do not have, so how many people are there? Only for Likita, Trishla, Anchal. Likita, you have any problem? Likita is the student in this class. She did not understand Hindi, so she's encouraging me to use English only. Okay, thank you. Thank you for today's class. Please read this out, and if you face any problem, your queries are welcome. You can send me a message or WhatsApp. I will try to answer them. Okay, thank you so much. Good night.